What's up, fans or haters? Today we've got two tournament reports. I just wanted to start; it'd be funny, but I've got two tournament reports for you guys. I've got a League Challenge and a League Cup. League Challenge was in the Surging Sparks format. I decided to finally play Regidrago at a tournament. I know you guys are going to be like, Rahul, man, like this is like the last one of the last possible times you could play it, and you chose to play it now. And I'm like, yes, yes, guys. I thought it would be a funny little bit to finally play Regidrago after months of saying that I may do it. And I've only played Lugia. And then I also played Dragapult EX in the new format with Prismatic Evolutions at Elite Cup, and I won both of these tournaments. So today I'm going to give you a tournament report, and at the end of the tournament report for my Dragapult list, I will be talking about what I may change. I just wanted to try it out because I think Dragapult's super good, and I've been laddering quite a bit on PCG Live to prepare for EOIC. I feel like I have kind of lost some of my skills as a player, so I've been putting a lot of time in to learn the game once again. It's very important you do that when a new set drops, I think, as a player, just to understand how the game is functioning and what's going on. So if you guys like this kind of content, again, please like and subscribe. The League Challenge is going to be a little bit more of a fun tournament report before we go into the Cup. In the challenge, I decided to play Drago. I kind of just wanted to show up because it's been a long time since I've gone to my local scene. I've been kind of jet setting a little bit, but I don't forget my roots and I miss some of the old guys to go hang out with. I wanted to grab like a drink or two after and just chill with everyone on a Thursday night. So I show up, I bring up Drago, basically just copy John's list from the last two regionals he played. I felt like everything, everything was there that I wanted. I don't really, I'm not a Drago player, man. I just took the list. The first round I hit, I remember I hit Thorn's Pult, and they opted second, and I had like a pretty insane turn one, getting like two energies onto a Drago V going first, like setting up perfectly, and they went like uh, Toad's cool active, Toad's squirrel, or Dreepy or Cloak on the bench pass, and I just went V Star hit the boss kill game, and I was like, yeah, okay, pack it up. I mean, I also like had to guarantee like Ultra Ball Vessel in Discord so I can get the Kyurem and win the game that way as well. And then sorry, win 1-0. And then the second round I end up hitting, I think it was uh, I want to say it was Guardy. Um, and then the Guardy player basically didn't really set up that well. I didn't get the blow up turn, but I was able to take two prizes pretty quickly before the game even began, kind of. And then I was just able to kind of overwhelm them on board with the pieces I had. The jamming tower did come in clutch. I remember that quite a bit. Game three, round three, I hit my buddy Dean, who needs the points for his invite, so I just chose to concede. I don't need the points. I'm already maxed on challenges, and I just don't care. So I gave it to him. He's a buddy. So 2-1, got some dinner, came back. Round four, I hit Chen Pao. Actually, a very scary matchup. My opponent actually bricked, so I won the game immediately. But we played a real game after, and they won the flip. And I had a Squawk turn one to play the game, and they were able to use their Kyogre to blow up my Squawk on turn one. And I was like, or turn two, and I was like, holy moly, this is scary. And I actually lost like the fun game. I actually got absolutely dogged down in the fun game because I let them go first. So that was really scary. And the last round I played against God of War, and my start was pretty mediocre. Like I went first, didn't get a turn two, I turn one Drago, but I was able to take a knockout with Teal Mask. So the first two knockouts I took were with Teal Mask, and then I eventually went into the Drago. Had to blow V Star pretty early to go for just to get out of the active because my switch hit the discard turn one, and my Prime Catcher I had to use to get out of Counter Catcher early. So I was able to take four prizes pretty quickly, and then I went for a six energy Ogerpon play, and I missed it. So I ended up having to just Gutra the active with my Drago. But my opponent realized at that point that they were pretty much checkmated on board, regardless of how the game progressed from this point onwards. Because if they go for a big attacker to take out my Drago, I can go Jamming Tower plus Ogre Pawn, basically kill whatever they have left. Um, and if they don't kill my Drago, I basically just have game on board. So I ended up going 4-1 at the challenge, getting third. Very unorthodox day with Drago, but I thought the bit was good and I packed it up. So here we have Dragapult. There's a list here. You guys can see 443 Dragapult, 212 Dusknoir, 2 Budew, Fez, Alakazam, Luminian, Rotom, 4 Arven, 3 Lance, 3 Iono, 2 Boss, a Crispin, a Turo, 3-3 on the energy split, 4 Buddy Buddy, 2 Nest, 2 Ultra, 2 Candy, 1 Vessel, a Counter Catcher, Sealstone, Board, Crystal, Evo, a Night Stretcher, and a Jamming Tower. Now, I'm going to go through the controversial cards that you guys might not understand, or even I don't know why I played them sometimes. So I went 2 Boss, 1 Counter Catcher, because I feel like a lot of the time, when you're controlling the tempo with Budew, you're going to be ahead. Like, the Counter Catcher is just like, for those often rare scenarios where you fall really far behind, but I think the Boss is just so much more value because it's searchable off the Luminian. And I guess Luminian for Arven also works, right? But I don't know, like, I just felt like I was using the Boss a lot more proactively to make certain plays and, like, clean up their board or just like stick them in a really awkward spot. So I don't know. I really like two boss. The Jamie Tower was unique because I didn't expect Lugia at my cup specifically. I also think that matchup is really bad even if you have it. Like if they can get two Gigas up and running, you just lose the game. Like if you have to do them for like 2 or 3 turns and hope they don't get to play the game. And if they do get to play the game, you lose the game. So you got to cope a little bit. And I felt like jamming would be good into Gardevoir. And I also felt like it could be good in mirror in unique situations, like sticking something in the active or like just making their game a little bit more awkward. So I decided to go with the jamming that way. And it was actually really helpful because some of my opponents actually played Hero's Cape in their Pult Zard decks, which actually kind of came in clutch because I could set up for plays where the jamming tower would guarantee me 2 prize cards on like their Charizard or something else because I just set it up that way. I really liked Two Candy. I really liked. I think the second Dusknoir was a little bit overkill. I never really used that. I felt like that was one of those cards that could be cut. I don't really know what I would make it. Two Budew was awesome. Like I always had the Budew when I needed it, so that was really really sick. Crispin was really good. I really liked that. I don't know if I need 4 Arven. I felt like the Arven was pretty useless like half the game. Like besides like turn one going second effectively. Um, but I feel like the Arven could probably be cut for like a fourth Lance. I really, really like Lance. Like Lance is so broken. Like every time I was just looking for something, I just wanted a Lance. Like turn two, turn three, turn four. Like I just wanted 2 Lance to get my Dracloaks up and running, to get my Dreepies early, to get my Dragapults, to just basically set up this unbreakable board. And you're gonna find your Dusknoir pieces as you're Dracloaking every single turn. Um, TM Evo is a card that I really don't like in the deck, but I feel like you need it if you fall behind because you just need to be like you need to say like I can't Budew you. You get to Budew me for one more turn, but your board is already set up and mine isn't, so I have to TM Evo. And if you have a way to answer my board and blow it up with your items, that's really unfortunate for me. But I can't sit here and just like keep losing the game because I don't get to play the game. You know, like it's a card that lets you play the game, which I think you need to have. One stretcher was a little bit sus with a 3/3 energy split. I do think I want one more recovery card. I don't know what it is. Maybe like a Lana's 8 or something, but like it felt really sketchy. Rotom was really good. I thought that card was pretty good going first for sure. Like I aggressively went for it. Fez did nothing. I don't really know if you need the Fez. I think that could be just a liability in most situations. Like you could probably cut that Fez for something else as well, like maybe a fourth energy of Psychic type probably. But I really like Dragapult. I've been laddering with it quite a bit, and I thought it would be a good play for my cup. Usually I can't like I think I've talked about this in my videos before. I can't really bring Lugia to locals because people do try to counter me quite a bit, and I don't really want that to happen. So I chose not to bring Lugia. I probably won't bring it to locals. If anything, I mean I'm still pretty uh, set on it being one of the better decks for EUIC. So you guys can check out my masterclass and see my lists. I think they're pretty up to date, pretty up to par. Some of the guys will be going to Puerto Rico and they will be using it, so you guys can check that out as well. Anyway, tournament report. Round one, I played against Holt Zard, and my opponent really didn't get set up too well, and I was just able to kind of board like overwhelm the board. My Budew basically bought infinite time while I just set up, and like they went for a turn three Charizard after evolving through Charmeleon, and I ended up going Dusknoir, kill their Charizard, put 6 on their um Cloak. They went into Dragapult, attack back into me. I remember like I think bossing up their Luminion or something they put down, kill the Luminion, and put 6 more on the Dragapult and set up another Dragapult on my own end. So I effectively had checkmate on board. Um, round two, I ended up hitting. Um, oh, dude, I actually completely blanked on what I hit. Um, I want to say. No, I don't even remember, but I ended up winning round two. I remember that. And then round three, I ended up hitting Gardevoir, and this is actually where I lost my first game of the tournament because my opponent I chose to go second because I think going second with Dragapult and Guardy is cracked into like the mirror or the inverse, right? Because like if your opponent misses turn one Poffin, you're putting them on a clock, and obviously like some of these decks aren't even playing a full grip of Poffin. Like lists are kind of bad sometimes, and like you just want to make them have the Poffin. That's like saying, hey, you need to have your VIP pass, or I'm going to Budew you this next turn, and you don't get to play the game, or you don't get to set up. And I think that is the correct thing to do. So I ended up my opponent opened Buddy Buddy Poffin and got a third Ralts down into Iono. And then I had 3 Dreepy into Budew, and I had Lance to grab. I just lanced for 3 Cloaks, put them into my hand, and I passed it back to my opponent, and they Ionoed my 3 to the bottom, and then they were able to get themselves 2 Curlias as well, and they were able to Budew me back. And my hand was just so bad. And then the next 2 turns, they were able to Cresselia, like take out one of my Cloaks. I was able to make a pretty awesome play where I was able to go like countercatcher, Dusk, uh, not Dusk nor Dusk Clops, take out 2 Curlias in the same turn, and the Budew. So I went down to 3 prize cards. And then I don't know it again, and they attacked into me with Guardy, and I like drew into like Dusknoir, and I had another Duskull on the bench, and I like had a Dracloak. And in my like Dracloak card in my top deck, like I didn't find an Arven. If I had Arven there, I just make Dusknoir, I blow up their Guardy, and I go down to 1 prize card, and the game is like completely locked from there. But for the next 3 turns, I hit nothing, and I just lost. So ended up losing that. The crest was really annoying. Um, Realized that matchup was pretty tough, all things considered. The jamming did make a difference because they weren't able to blow me up. They used their Artisan pretty early and discarded another Artisan. So once I slammed the jamming, they just couldn't. ever get to a position where their Drifloon would just blow up my Dragapult. So that was actually pretty useful there. Round four, I ended up hitting Guardy as well, and they kind of like turbo bricked against my Budew. Like I won the flip. Oh, no, they won the flip and made me go first, but I had like Poffin Nest Ball in hand. So I went Poffin for Dreepy, and just grabbed like Nest Ball for Rotom and just drew three. And then I was able to get the turn two like Lance. I Seal Stone for Lance, I believe, and I like set up my board. I just started off to the races, and they were just like getting stuck under my Budew. Um, and they opened Drifloon, so they didn't really get to do too much. And then turn three, I basically had like the Pult like blow up your board situation. They evoed, I think, turn two, um, with one Ralts out, and I just bossed the Ralts and I blew it up because I was seeing like so many cards with Dracloaks. I had like triple Dracloak at this point, so I was seeing so many cards, and I was able to blow it up, blow up the Ralts or the Curlia, and I basically just swept the game. I did my fifth round with Gouging Fire, and then I come back for top eight, and I did end up hitting the same Gouging Fire player. I didn't really know how the matchup was supposed to go. They do have the Entei to pop my Badoos early with the Jet Energies and just like Magma Basement and stuff like that. So they actually are a little bit scary. The first game they didn't really do too much, and I was able to kind of like sweep them. I made a play where like I ended up putting the Jamming Tower down and taking four prize cards in one turn and just wiping their whole board of energies. And that was just something they didn't expect, I think, with Jamming Tower plus Iono. And then game two, I thought I had the game locked up at 2-2 prize cards. My board was just two Dragapult, but this is where I definitely made a mistake where I could have Ionoed, but I opted to Turo up like Alakazam or something. Or I Turoed up like a Rotom, I think, actually. Because I was like, the only way they can win is like getting a full board of stuff, getting another Gouging Fire, and bossing me. So I'm just going to Turo, but instead I could just Iono by opponent's like 10 card hand down to two. They didn't have a Greninja on board, they didn't have a Fez on board. Apparently they had all those pieces in hand. Um, so they drew a million cards. They set up a Roaring Moon EX, which I didn't expect, with double energy switch with the Sada, because they had Darks in their deck as well. I thought it was just for Monkey Dory. Set up their guy, blew me up, and I lost game two. Game three, they were able to get the turn two Delphox KO on my Budew and a Dreepy. But then my Dracloak became a Dragapult, took the knockout on the active, put a bunch of damage counters on their board, and they didn't really have a great answer, so they had just hit me with Entei. And they chose not to hit my active, but they bossed, like they Luminianed for boss to take out my benched Duskull. And at that point, I've got a clean Dragapult now that's swinging into this damaged Entei and something else. So I was able to just put a ton of damage on the board. Was able to just basically end the game on like a four prize turn. Top four, played against a very unique Budew Frostlass Monkey Dory deck, just basically like hammers, fans, like a control the Budew. Like I'm just straight Bedewing with Monkey Dory and Frostlass. Unfortunately, that matchup is really, really bad for them into me because I don't care if I get Frostlass early. Once I have my Dracloaks going, I'm flowing, like free flowing, and they have to put like their attacker is Budew. So once they have multiple Badoos in play, I get to take multiple prize turns, and I can always just chase the Frostlasses with Dragapult and Dusknoir damage, which is exactly what I did. Like the first game, I was able to. They got active Budew double Frostlass. I was able to boss their Frostlass, and I just itchy pawned, and they weren't able to retreat it, which gave me items to go Candy Dusknoir, kill the active, kill the bench. So I was able to take the game in three turns. And then the second game was pretty much the same story where I got like the turn three or four boss on. We were both itching back and forth. I got the boss on the Frostlass, was able to take out the Frostlass and take out the Snoront on the bench. And then they had only Badoos on board, and they went into the Ursaluna to buy a turn with the attachment. But I was able to just gust up the Budew and take out the three Badoos that were in play. But I also had like access to Dusclops to seal it up as well. And then in finals, I ended up hitting Zard Pult. I choose to go second. I win the flip. I choose to go second. I basically lock my opponent instantly. Their hand sucks, and I just have like the turn three blow up your board, which is awesome. Like I had the Exodia hand, and then in the second game, they are able to get their Heroes Cape online. Everything looks good. I end up Ioning myself into like a not perfect, but like I prized two Dreepy, so I only had one Dragapult to work with, but I got double Duskull off it. So I go double Duskull, bench the Fez, draw cards off Fez. One time the Fez actually did something. Hit a Psychic, put a Psychic on Raining Alakazam, set up the board so his Charizard now has like 380 damage on it. There's 10 on the Fez and 90 or 110 on the Dragapult. So now, if they Turo their Charizard, then I just win by picking up taking out the Fez, etc. etc. And I basically have checkmate set up where like I can just always attack with the Alakazam as well. To clean up the game. There was like 70 on a Squawk ability as well, sorry. And I had, double Duskull already down. I had a bunch of cards in hand. They had to Iono me, and I was like, if you're Iono me, you're not winning the game. And you're hitting into my Pult, and they chose to just attack into my Pult. They didn't have anything, and I'm able to just explode the board there, and I win the Elite Cup. Playmat didn't come in yet, so not the worst. But I do pick up my fourth League Cup win of the season, which maxes my locals out. Going to one more cup tomorrow before I head off to Japan. But this deck is really really fun when it sets up and plays the game. I do think it's one of the few decks that abuses going second really really well with the double Budew. I'm a huge fan of double Budew. I think it's like quite good. Um, However, I think your Lugia matchup is pretty bad, and I think Guardy is kind of questionable as well. So I don't know if I'll be bringing this forward to other stuff. But I wanted to try give this a whirl because I've been playing it on ladder, and I just like the deck as a concept. It's a lot of fun to play, so I really enjoyed playing it. So thank you guys for watching. As always, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you after tomorrow's tournament report. Honestly.